Hey, we're live. This is Daddy Rips and DPZ reaction show, our Bill and Baseball show. It's sort of a kickoff from that, reacting to news in the hobby that has to do with baseball and breaking specifically, or anything that we really feel like talking about in that moment. So I've got DR here with me to talk about the latest news that we just heard recently, that TikTok is banning breaking effective at some point. This came from the source. I'm just going to plant my sources here because I think it's important to do so. I learned of this through the Sports Card Dad, my friend Dustin at the Sports Card Dad, and he actually learned it from Sports Card Radio and Collectibles Guru. And apparently, from what we're hearing, is that the Collectibles Guru is thinking that Fanatics might, want to regulate the space at some point to keep it cleaner. Backyard breaks it surrounds backyard breaks, but I don't know if we're not casting any blame, or we want to be careful when it comes to that, because everything's speculative, and I don't know if it has to do with them or it just has to do with breaking in general. But the fact of the matter remains, breaking is a very big part of our hobby. It is the life source and blood, and the main source of income for Michael over here at Daddy Rips and DR.
The entire source of income.
The entire source of income. This is a big topic, and I felt it deserves some of his attention. So I'm basically going to just hand the mic over to him. I'm going to ask him how he feels this is going to affect. And you go to listen to what Dustin has to say. He has some interesting takes on the regulation aspect of everything. So I encourage people that are listening to this to go check that out, because that's where we learned of this. But more importantly, do your due diligence. We're not just casting stuff out there, but I think it invites a bigger question and a bigger discussion on breaking. Should there be regulation? I, for instance, don't really care for regulation a ton. I mean, broad sweeping regulation from a federal level can be very damaging and dangerous, causes a lot of friction and problems. So what would that do to your space, DR? And what did you think when you heard about this?
It's a little scary, because when you see, obviously you see the post, it's, backyard is on the front of that post, and then they show, TikTok banning breaking. I know they were live today. I don't know when it's going to be in full effect. Man, it's really hard. I think it's a slippery slope too, because sports boxes in general is gambling. On the back of every single box, there are odds of hitting certain cards. And when you bring odds and percentages into opening something, it's a form of gambling. So what are you going to do? Shut all LCSs down because they're offering things that is a form of gambling? It's no different than four friends walking into a store and going, hey, we're going to split that NT box. You're going to get two divisions. Everybody gets two divisions. We're going to split the NT box. Oh, Johnny didn't get a card because there wasn't any cards out of those divisions. It's no different. There's just a social media aspect of it now, and you're bringing people in. And let's face it, like the hobby is that the community as a whole, like a lot of us are friends. A lot of us know people. So when they're buying into these breaks online, a lot of the same people are buying into the breaks, and they know that name that comes into the channel. So they're all breaking together. It's no different than those four people walking into a card store. So what are you going to start doing? Like regulating card stores? It's a real slippery slope, because you could start breaking it down. I mean, you could like go down or like a rabbit hole, right? And go like, well, LCSs, they support the boxes. The boxes say odds on the back. It's like, okay, well, what about the entertainment value? Right? Does entertainment value, does that not bring some sort of value to the show? It's not just opening cards. It's not just somebody sitting there silent opening cards. You have to entertain people in order to bring them into that space. Now, going a next level, a lot of this breaking exploded during COVID. So did podcasts. So did ASMR on TikToks. So did music. So did all these people that turn to, hey, I'm a form of entertainer, and I'm going to take to the social media platform and try to make money. So when you're telling me I spent $100 to go see a comedian, he has to supply me with a form of entertainment, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do I feel, is it gambling? Let's say, am I taking a gamble? I'm taking a risk that this guy's going to put on a show. Like you could sort of put the form of gambling in all aspects of life. So it's really, it's a slippery slope. I hope Fanatic steps in and protects breakers because, like you said, breaking has become a massive part of this hobby and the community. And let's face it, a lot of people wouldn't know about cards being hit. They wouldn't know about comps. They wouldn't know about a
Absolutely.
lot of things without breakers.
That's right.
And LCSs, whether they like us or hate us, they've benefited from breaking because they've seen how the breaking aspect can bring more income into their shop. So when they close the doors at 5 p.m., they can have a breaker in the back room
Mm-hmm.
and they're still making money. You have LCSs now making it money 24/7 because of the breaking aspect. You know, people man, it's so hard. It's frustrating for me too because I operate pretty much solely on Instagram. So what if TikTok does it? Is it going to leak into Instagram? Hey, this is we're going to ban this form of like what if I just go, all right, guys, I'm going to start charging $100 a person, and I'm going to do FaceTime breaks. I'll just do FaceTime breaks. And then I'll get everybody on a FaceTime because you can get up to like 10 people. And I'll be like, all right, we're just going to do breaks on FaceTime. Like what they can't stop that. So you're going to pin people into certain things. Like, I don't know. Are you familiar with Whatnot?
Yeah.
Okay. Are they going to go after Whatnot? Is Whatnot going to be considered like the gamble aspect? You know, I know a lot of the gambling thing is because you have people, it's like everybody has to get something, right? Like you can't, like a lot of things with the Razzes, they don't like Razzes. They don't like the duck race things where people are spending, there's people out there they'll go, hey, $50, 10 people, whoever wins gets $500 credit. Like they don't like that because you have 9 people that are just losing, they're just throwing their money away. So like I said, it's a slippery slope because when you turn over that box, it says you have a 1 in 80 chance, 1 in 80 packs to get this card. It's like that's gambling. You're there's no guarantees. If there's no guarantees, you're gambling. So I don't know.
Is there? Tell me this.
Yeah.
Is there sort of like unspoken rules, unwritten rules, etiquette that is followed in the breaking community amongst other breakers that those are just unspoken? You don't have to talk about it, but you just sort of follow protocols and policies that you put in place. Because if a regulator comes in, trust me, I have a lot of experience with regulators. If a regulator comes in, what they like to look at is what is a common issue that no one is paying attention to. They like to see self-policing to a degree, but in the breaking community, is there common unspoken rules, etiquette that is followed that keeps things on the up and up?
One thing that we do, and I know other breakers do as well, and I will put Backyard in. The crazy thing is that like Backyard is such a big company, and like it's not going to stop those guys. This is the they have their Twitch. That's another form. They have their Twitch. They have the Whatnot. They have all these other things. But like an unspoken thing for us that I know other people follow is let's say we do a break and it's 30 people. We do a baseball break. Everybody gets a random team and it's a whole case. And we're going through and we're sorting and we see a guy get like 1 card, and it's nothing. We tend to, and we have stockpiles of top loaded cards of good players, good names, numbers, good whatever. We tend to throw cards in just at random. We don't tell them, we just throw it in. That way, when we're shipping, we're not shipping just a card that's, just a base chrome card that's unsleeved. We tend to ship somebody a card or for example, if somebody does, let's say they do a personal and the box is terrible. We try to throw them something, just So I don't know. I feel like that's more of like the ethical way to do it.
Right. Okay.
I have been told that, the razzing and and doing things where, there's one winner and all these losers, that's like not the way to go. So there might be ways around that. Hey, everybody, no matter what, everybody's going to get something. You're going to get a package shipped to you. And that could be, guys might need to start getting creative. Start using, go buy merchandise, find something that's really cheap, a box cutter or whatever it might be, a hat, a sticker, a stand, and just go, all right, guys, the winner's going to get this and the losers are all going to get some form of merchandise shipped to you. That way, it's kind of like it's helping your brand. You're sending out the merchandise, and these people aren't necessarily like gambling. They're still getting something. That's like the main like unspoken thing with what's going on. And I mean, the other unspoken thing is like nobody says the G word is like the off limits word. Gambling is the don't say gamble, don't say Raz. We got banned from Venmo because somebody put in the notes spot for Raz. And it's that Raz was like an algorithm word that they were like, boom, you're done. So, and the same thing with PayPal. PayPal went after us for, I don't know if you know the story, but PayPal went after us for, running a gambling company, which we weren't. We're not running a gambling company. They took $50,000 from us, and debited their account by saying that we violated their terms and conditions. It's just, so there's no regulation on that. They could just steal money. So it's like you want regulation on some things and you don't want regulation on other things. And I think that the hobby as a whole understands the risk that goes in when you're breaking. For the most part, I'd say 99.9% of people understand, hey, there's a risk that goes in when I'm buying a spot, when I'm paying for this break. There's a risk. There's nobody that's walking out going, hey, man, nobody told me that I wasn't going to get a card, or nobody told me that I thought everybody was going to get an auto. It's like, no, everybody knows the risk. So I think I really think that I hope that the community and the hobby kind of stands up and goes, hey, man, this isn't right. This isn't right. It helps everybody. The breaking, whether you like breakers or not, we do bring value to the hobby and the community. And that falls back on us to apply more value. Like I've said before, like people come to me and DM me asking, what is this comp for? Do you think I should hold? Do you think I should grade? Like bring more of that to the community and the hobby. And I think people will view breakers and protect us more.
So do you think, and I want to give, like I said, it's very important to give proper credit and reference and source the people that are bringing some of these things to the forefront, like Sports Card Radio. They got great content. They bring a lot of things to the forefront. Really enjoy their content. Really enjoy those guys. So thank you for just giving them the shout out, because they're the ones that brought, from what I can tell, maybe I'm wrong, maybe they grabbed it from somebody else, and I plead my ignorance on that, but I'm trying to give proper credit, as well as Dustin, Sports Card Dad, and Collectibles Guru. I don't follow them, but I heard that they had some takes on it, thinking YouTube and Instagram might follow in a couple of years. I think that was an opinion piece, but that's what he thinks. There's probably some, you can go check out his page and learn more about what he thinks. And again, and Dustin and Sports Card Radio, go find out how they feel about it. And I will try to tag them on any clips we have on this conversation, because I think that's appropriate and important. But do you feel, and this is the question, and of course from a federal, and Dustin mentioned this, which I thought was a great point, when it's done federally, when anything is monitored or regulated on a federal level, everybody gets swooped up and in. It's like a big black, you sweep everybody in. And a lot of people that are doing it the right way, people that are also maybe operating on a smaller budget, they get wrapped in with all the bigger breakers, and it becomes almost impossible for them to operate, because regulations will then cause friction that causes issues. And I do believe, my personal opinion is, I think breaking is important, especially when done properly and right and ethically, because it gives a person an opportunity and a low barrier to entry to buy cards, whether it be Bowman Prospect, basketball. It gives you an opportunity to get into a product or start a collection without having to spend hundreds of dollars in singles on the internet. I think with all of this, whether you're buying a single, whether you're buying a box at the LCS, or whether you're breaking with Daddy Rips or any other breaker, you have to know, you have to practice fiscal responsibility. You know, a lot of our country they don't have a savings account. They don't know how to weather the storm. They're not prepared for a lot of the turbulence that can come. I think we witnessed that during COVID, and there's some folks that are. I think we just need to be more mindful of that. And the hobby can be, you know, it can be dangerous. I think it's all exciting for us. Although all those of us who collect, we love to buy cards. So we have to be smart. But that only goes so far. You are not responsible for the person that comes into your break and the amount of money he's spending elsewhere in his life, or whether he's prioritizing his budget properly to take care of his family or whatever. That is on that person. So you just have to disclaim it all day. But even if you disclaim it all day, they can still behave in the way they want to behave. And you can't do anything about that. I guess unless you can recognize some unhealthy behavior.
Yeah, and we have done that. You know, we've had to cut people off. We're like, hey, you know, a guy came in one time and he was slurring his words typing. And you could tell, and everyone's like, dude, this guy's not there. And he was buying personals. And I had to cut him off after like 2. I was like, no, man. I literally looked at my business partner. I was like, no, we're not doing this. I don't want this guy waking up in the morning going, what did I do? Oh my gosh. Like, other people, there are people in the hobby that will take advantage of that situation. But I don't want that like DM in the morning going, hey man, I was pissed drunk last night.
I was feeling good. And
I was feeling good. And I don't even remember buying anything. Right. And then it falls back on us. Like, then what do? Do we refund him? You know, then there's like this weird barrier. So we have cut people off before and just said like, no, man, like, or a guy, you know, I've had a guy tell me like, do not let me spend more than $5,000. Like, don't let me do it. And then it gets to that point where he's like, let's go one more. I'm like, no, you told me to cut you off at 5. We're cutting you off. Like, we're not going down this road because I don't want to have to deal with it later. And we've been burned before. You know, I've had 2 guys who they were ripping and they were spending a lot of money. And then it got to the point where there was a trust that was built between us. And they got to the point where they were like, hey, do you mind if I just tab up? Sure. Like, this guy was paying a lot of money, like tens of thousands of dollars. And I got to the point where I'm like, all right, I'll let you go. Like, you can just rip. So he ripped a case that night, spent $5,500. Well, didn't spend, but he ripped a $5,500 case with us. And it was a bad case, completely ghosted us. Left Instagram, fell off. And we were just left with all these cards. We ate the $5,500. I think we pieced apart the cards. It was a Bowman case. I think we ended up getting like $2,000 back for all the cards. But that's also like, that's where we were just like, no, we're not doing this ever. Like, we can't have this happen to us again. So, you know, we incur a lot of risk as well, because, you know, someone on PayPal can just, you know, refute the charges. And then PayPal's always, most of the time, they side with the spender. They don't side with the person supplying it. So, you know, we incur a risk too. So I think the regulation is that's like just a scary word for me, because as soon as you start regulating things, that's like you said, it's just the smaller people tend to you're just going to you might shrink the breaker, you know, platform to, you know, it might only be 25 breakers, because like you said, the smaller ones just fall off. They can't keep up with whatever sort of, you know, fees or things that they come with it. So
let me ask I'll just ask this is the elephant in the room. Here's the question. Do you feel, and do you think breaking should be regulated? On a state level, a federal level, by fanatics? I don't know how they would do that.
I don't know how they would do it either. You know, I think Whatnot is a company right now. I've had my issues with Whatnot. They tried to ban me several times for things that were out of my control. Which that's the when I think of regulation, I just go into the monopoly side of things, right?
Mm-hmm.
You are completely shrinking down, and it's going to create a monopoly because let's just say, hypothetically, Instagram gets shut down,
Mm-hmm.
Facebook gets banned, YouTube gets banned, Twitch gets banned. Now what? Now you have Whatnot, and then Whatnot goes, oh, we're the only platform. Yeah, we're going to charge, you know what, 15%, 20% to come on our platform. Then it's just a complete monopoly. And now the big guys can make it because they can afford that percentage, or they're grandfathered into a lower percentage. And the smaller people are like, well, I can't afford that. You know, that's higher than eBay. Why would I even do that? So, like I said, I think I'm not for it. I think.
I could poke a hole in that maybe just for a second. What if another competitor comes in now, not named Whatnot, and they create a streaming, like a platform just for breakers that becomes the place to go? See, it's almost like when there's a void, you fill it. And we talk about this a lot. So if that happens, doesn't that create an opportunity for maybe, it's like they say, if there's a gold rush, be the one selling the shovels, right? So wouldn't you want to create the shovel? Would you be a person that would transition into, hey, I'm going to create the platform where everybody streams to break, and I'll still break, but I don't know if you can do both at the same time. There would be a conflict there, but there could be an opportunity there for someone to create a platform to stream it.
Yeah, there are other platforms too. There are other platforms. There's Card Shop, Drip, Network, I think. There's a few, but Whatnot has they have the right tools and the quality. I mean, Whatnot has, which is so crazy. Instagram is the meta, right? It's owned by Facebook, right? Whatever. They have all the technology in the world, but still, for some reason, in the chat, there's a 12-second delay when you type something to when I see it. It's 12 seconds. We've counted it out. It's pretty wild. Whatnot, it is immediately. You type something and you see it. Like within a second, boom, it's there. So I think Whatnot they have the grasp on the actual breaking side, and then they have other people on there. They have people selling purses, and it's just the auction style, but I don't know. I don't know if that's going to open up more opportunities. I hope it would. I would believe it would. But then again, when you shrink down your outlets, it's just those other outlets are going to take advantage because they're going to go, well, you got one of three places to go. If those two people, it just shrinks it down. So like I said, I hope they don't take advantage of that. I would love a platform where it's just breaking. It's 5%, like a 5% flat fee. Everybody's 5%, and the way you get approved is, it's got to be some sort of, you have a trial-based time frame, and depending on your shipping and quality and entertainment, like maybe there's some sort of trial air period. So, but it's not going to be that way because people get greedy. Whatnot came out, it was like they were like 2-3% in the beginning. They charged me 11%. That's crazy. That's insane, especially for somebody who's been around a long time, but they can do it. They can get away with it. And they're just like, oh, who cares? You don't like it, go somewhere else. Because they have the backyard, the pole wax. They have these big companies that they don't need anybody else. They really don't. They are making so much money, and they have the space completely controlled to where it doesn't matter. They don't need anybody else, and they can. And I've heard people paying already up to 15% on that platform. So, yeah. So I it's hard for me because I'm on Instagram. I've tapped into the Whatnot side, but if Instagram goes, that is my bread and butter. And I've been on there since day one of breaking for over 3 years. So if Instagram goes, then yeah, I'll have to adapt. Like I said, I'll fill a breakout and be like, all right, guys, we're going on FaceTime. I'll have two phones. I'll have two phones. I'll have FaceTime and all this FaceTime break. Like, what are you going to do? What are you going to shut down my phone? So people are going to get, I think people, if they start regulating it and they start shutting it down, people are resilient and they're going to find different ways to get it done. However that might be, they're going to, the rules will always be bent or pathwayed around. So, it sucks. It sucks for me because I know the time is coming. And so I have to adapt now before it's too late,
All right, clip that and then clip this. Friends, I think there's opportunities in business and in time where you have a opportunity to create something and fill a void. I think this is one of those times, not just in the hobby, but in business. I think this is one of those times where there's going to be an opportunity to fill a void, meaning a platform, something to assist the breakers. If the breakers come under attack, or if they're regulated in any way, shape, or form, and that there's friction there because of it, there's an opportunity for you, someone out there, an entrepreneur, to jump in, create something that takes away that friction for the breaker. Obviously, you wouldn't want to gouge the breaker and ask for too much money. Maybe be transparent, stick with a number. You can still buy a hot dog for $1.50 at Costco. They never raised that price. Maybe use that mentality when you create this platform or this product. I think there's an opportunity. And if you want to take advantage of it, now is the time. Discovery, development, it takes time, but now is the time. If you're that person and listening to this show right now, or this episode, I think now is the time. This is the time for you to create something that's going to create and enhance the experience for the folks that are breaking and the breakers, and cater to both somehow. So that's my 2 cents. That's what I'm hearing. I'm also hearing that you have to be nimble. And I think in today's world, with technology always advancing, you have to stay nimble without alienating your fan base or your client base, but you still have to be able to pivot. So it's good to hear you have a plan. You're like, well, I have to find something. You already had it figured out before anything is even happening. You're like, well, I know exactly what I'm going to do because we're going to have to do it.
Yeah.
It's life or death.
And I had tried TikTok, but I kept getting banned. I was getting banned like every time I went live.
Why?
There was a time.
Why are you getting banned?
I'd say some wild stuff, I curse and stuff. And for whatever reason, the curse words, like the algorithm picks it up, and it's just, and I remember one time, I got banned like 2 times in a row. It was like 3-day ban. So then the third time I go live, and somebody in the chat, right when I went live, like, what's the over under on minutes that DR is going to get banned today? Right. It was 1 minute. Literally, I got like the 45th second. I did an impression of a celebrity, and it was funny, and everyone, and then all of a sudden it was just like, you are banned. It just like kicked me off. So I just stopped going live on a TikTok because I was like, man, I'm just going to get banned. I can't even say I can't say the F word, but you have people on these platforms that are like selling their bodies, basically strippers, where people are sending gifts and coins or whatever it might be. But I can't say a curse word, so
it's all backwards.
Yeah, it is.
It's all backwards. Yeah, we can talk about that. Having little girls myself,
I know.
Like I have a very strong opinion on all that stuff. But since this isn't my platform, I'm not going to share it. But you probably guessed how I feel about all of that stuff, all of it.
Yeah.
No, I think it is interesting. There are a lot of hypocrisy. There's a lot of hypocrisy when it comes to censorship and how those companies, they decide how they want to run their business. We kind of have to adapt.
So I have a question though, because you have the same companies, TikTok has the capability of people to send gifts, and those gifts are they're not free. You have to pay for the coins in order to send those gifts. So what's stopping me to just go, all right, guys, this break, I'm going to go on TikTok. This break costs, you got to send 10 gifts. It's a gift. They're not, like what's stopping that from happening? Like, is Instagram going to stop the badges? You have badges on Instagram. Someone can just, and I have people that come in our room and they'll buy a badge for $4 and they don't buy anything else. And they just say, DR, you're entertaining. I just here to support. I'm just spending a badge. I'm buying a badge to help your channel, because the entertainment value, like I said, entertainment is a form of value. And if you don't think that, then you can't shut these people down, because I'm bringing, not only when we go live, I'm not just sitting there just quietly opening cards or just mundane, boringly opening. We're talking about the players. We're shooting the shit back and forth with my business partner. We're laughing. We're making jokes. It's a total form of entertainment.
You're
and
singing.
If you don't, what's, wow, yeah.
You're singing.
Yes, I'm singing. I'm like doing wild things, and saying crazy stuff. And if you don't think that is a form, if you don't think that brings value, then I can't help you, because, and that's the one argument I have when people go, oh, well, why is this guy's $20 cheaper? I'm like, well, I'm more entertaining. And if you don't think I'm more entertaining, then go, or if you don't like entertainment, then go break with the guy for less money. But I'm going to bring that entertainment shock value to the break. So
right on. Well, you're the premier breaker for Luca Nation Network, and as far as I'm concerned, me and all my friends. But but I will, we'll just wrap with this. Speaking of value, just remember, the Luca Nation Network have a partnership with Beckett, and Beckett is a great place to send those Bowman Chrome autos or Bowman Chrome cards that you pull from a break and get a quick grade, get it back. I know that I have a lot of Bowman Chrome cards and BGS holders because I just kind of felt like I went that direction when I first got back in, and I kind of stayed there because I feel like there's a tremendous value there in getting a card and a Beckett holder. So I know that sounds like we're, just kind of push that, but I think it's important.
Listen, I don't even know about the Beckett thing, but I will say this. Baseball cards, Bowman cards look so much better. I don't know what it is. There's just this feel to a Bowman first auto when you have it in your hand and you got that gold 9/5/10 or BGS or a pristine 10/10. You have that feel. It's I don't know what it is. There's just like, maybe it's like a nostalgia to it or something. But when I'm at the Dallas card show starts today.
Right.
I live in Dallas. When I walk through those aisles and I see a BGS 9/5 Gem Plus 10, 9/5/10 and a 10 and a PSA 10 of the same card, I don't know why, but I gravitate to the Beckett. And I tell this people all the time, like, if you have a clean card and it's Bowman, send it to BGS, because
absolutely
that outside chance of you getting a pristine 10/10, those cards they're worlds apart. They're miles apart when it comes to a BGS 10/10, even a PSA 10. You have this big gap because it's just like the Bowman collectors love that Beckett. They love that slab, and I do too. It feels so good in your hand. I don't know.
All right, here's the call to action for all of our friends out there that love this show, and we're happy that you keep joining us. Thank you for all the support and sharing these videos. It's really important for us to get this thing off the ground, for us to continue doing it, because it's we both have to find time to do it, and we enjoy doing it. So please share, like, subscribe to the network, and share these episodes. My call to action to all you friends listening is comment on the breaking situation. What do you think about breaking? What do you think about regulation in the breaking space? Also, let us know about BGS and PSA with Bowman Chrome. Which do you prefer? Do you prefer the BGS 9/5, the opportunity for a 10/10, or PSA's market's just, the market number is so much higher. I mean, that delta's there, so you just gravitate there. But is it harder to get that 10? I mean, they're grading autos too there now in PSA. So what do you think? Do you think that's? Let us know in the comments. We'll go back and forth with you on that. We'll have discussion, healthy discussion. And again, thank you for Sports Card Radio, the Collectible Guru, and Dustin at Sports Card Dad for, at least for me, learning about this so we can talk about it, hash it out. And we've got a breaker here. Nobody better to talk and speak to this subject than DR over here. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll be catching you on Tuesday for our next episode. I have got some very interesting conversations to have about some prospects that are having one heck of a week. I'm sure DR is going to have some he's got a picks to rip. Tune in next week. Until then, take care.
Take care, guys.
With nearly 40 years as the most trusted resource for collectors, dating back to the first Beckett magazine in 1984. Beckett has been the brand that bridges generations of the hobby. We're happy to be partnering with Beckett and look forward to keeping you all updated on the big things happening at the company in 2023. Beckett. It's the name you know and the name you can trust.